My name is Nassim Sabs.
Today is one of those days of remembrance. You know, I don't think I told you this, but my dad worked at the Twin Towers. And I'll tell you the story. And then I'll tell you why I'm telling this story after. But in this timeline, I was 13 years old. I was in middle school. I was in 8th grade. And September 11th, 2001, the administration of the school decided to keep it quiet. And we just had a normal day. Okay, we didn't know. They kept us in the dark. They lied to us by hiding it from us. They didn't tell us. In some schools, they told the kids, and in some schools, they didn't tell the kids. I was in a hush, 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 keep it a secret cover-up school. And so they didn't tell the kids what happened. So everything was normal, except there was whispers towards the end of the day. Okay? In the final class, there was whispers and rumblings amongst the students. A rumor was going around that there was some kind of attack. Somewhere. Okay? And I was like, what is going on? Okay? And I didn't know what to think. I kept an open mind at the time. I was like, okay, I guess I'll find out when I get home. I'll ask my mom. Right? Because at that time, I was still thinking that my parents had the answers for things. I was still thinking that my parents knew things, okay? So, I was still thinking like that at that time. So, it was like, whatever. And then I got on the bus and I go home. And I see that my mom's car is already parked in the driveway. I get dropped off. I walk down the street to my house. The walk takes maybe 20 seconds to walk from the end of the street to where I live. So I walk the 20-second walk. I'm thinking, what was that about? It's weird. I walk up to my house. I see my mom's car parked. I walk in. Okay. I walk in to the house. Okay. And I see my mom's there watching the TV. She's crying. And I'm like, what is going on? Okay. What is going on? Why is she crying? Right? And so I asked her why she's crying and she couldn't say anything to me. And I was like, okay. So then I go and I turn on the TV in a different place because I was like, I can't watch the TV if she's crying there. She's not telling me what's going on. Right? So I turn it to the news. Okay. And it's like the Twin Towers are like smoldering or whatever. Okay. There's smoke coming out of it. Okay. And I see it, and of course, at that time, I didn't know anything. I thought it was a real plane. Okay? I thought it was a real plane. Okay? I thought it was a real plane. And so I was like, switched in my personality. Okay? And I start pacing up and down the hallway. Pacing up and down the hallway. Okay? And I remember that switch, and that's the soldier personality. And so basically, the feeling told me, when do I fight? Okay, because I remember that feeling. That feeling is a very specific feeling when you have training as a soldier. It's very specific, and it's a very specific feeling, and the feeling tells you something. It asks you a question. When do I fight? Okay, when do I fight? When do I fight? Where do I fight, and how many? How many do I fight against? And that's all I could feel. Okay? At this point, I didn't know if my dad died or if my dad lived. I didn't know. I didn't know. I didn't know. And my mom didn't know. My sister came home and she was crying. She being 4 years younger than me in this timeline. She was crying. And, you know, my dad worked pretty high up on the 90-something floor. So, we didn't know. We didn't know if he lived or died. And all I could think of is, when do I go fight? That's all I could think of. When do I go fight? When? When? When does the mission start? When does the killing begin? Where do I go? How many people are going to die? How many things are going to die? How long is the fight going to last for this time? That's all I could feel. I couldn't feel the feeling of my dad dying or not being around anymore. Like, I couldn't feel it. All I could feel was the getting ready to be sent on a mission. Whether it's a fighting mission, a battlefield mission, whatever type of mission it is. And it's absolutely horrible in every way. It turns out my dad came home at like 9 o'clock. Okay, he came home at like 9 o'clock. He lost his glasses. He wears glasses. He doesn't get contacts, and he didn't get eye surgery. I got eye surgery because I couldn't take wearing glasses anymore. And I didn't believe in God at that point. So, I'm very happy about the eye surgery, by the way. That's something else, but he didn't wear contacts. And so it turns out that the bus was very delayed. Okay? The bus was very delayed for some reason. And the bus kept on having problems. And the bus did not get to work on time. Like, the bus did not stick to the schedule on time because the bus was effing up. Okay? The mechanics of the bus something was wrong with it. And it just was not working properly. And it just kept on stalling, and it just kept on messing up, and they just got... And so basically, because of the bus being not running right, my dad actually ended up being late to work. And he actually, the moment he was about to step through the doors of the World Trade Center, the moment he was about to step through those doors, okay, he was right on the doorstep, right in front of the door, a couple inches away from the door. That's when the tower got hit. And he heard the explosion, and he saw the glass falling down onto the ground. And then everyone started running, and he started running, okay? And he started running, 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 and it was crazy. And then the other one got hit, right? And then more people started running, and in the thing, he fell down a couple of times, and his glasses went flying. He lost his glasses. He couldn't see. He's short-sighted. And so everything's all blurry. And, you know, he ended up being able to somehow get home. And so he got home at like 9 o'clock at night. Okay. So, which was pretty late. And so it was a waiting game. Okay. I was pacing the whole day. nonstop. I must have ran a marathon. I must have paced up and down my house 10 miles. There was a fucking marathon I was pacing. Okay, I was power walking up and down the fucking hallway. Okay. I was power walking it. Everyone crying. It was a waiting game. I got home at like 2 o'clock. And so we just waited and the hours ticked by. 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 3:30, 4 o'clock, 4:30, 4:15, 4:45, 5 o'clock, 6:30, 6:15. Every minute, tick tock, tick tock. Was my dad alive? We didn't know. Nobody knew. And so there was no way of contacting him because this was not the cell phone era that we are in now. And the internet was barely out. And so there's no way of going online. I couldn't just go online and look, and there was no way of doing that. As you know, back in the early 2000s. And, 7 o'clock rolls around. It's getting nighttime. It's already nighttime. And I'm like, I try to be there for my mom and my sister. Because it was just us three. It was my mom, my dad, myself, and my sister. So, it's 7 o'clock. It's nighttime. We didn't know. The stock market shut down. It was on all the news, every station, they shut down the stock market. They shut down all the airports. Okay. They shut it all down, shut it down. They know, shut it down. Okay. And like that meme, that internet meme of, oh no, shut it down. They know. So they shut it all down, right? And everything is locked. Okay? Lockdown. Okay? Lockdown. And so it's 7 o'clock, and I remember thinking, that's when I started thinking, like, wait, my dad might not be coming home. Like, that's the first time I thought it. That's the first time I thought, wait a minute. There's a chance that my dad isn't gonna come back. That's basically the story.
Everybody was huddled around the television, and I said, why are y'all looking at a horrible movie this time of morning? And they say, no, Pastor, this is actually happening in America.
I was in the car on the way to work, and you don't feel like you're hearing it right, and I can't believe this has happened. This is something you see in a movie or